Hey there everyone! As this video is being uploaded, Happy New Year! The cursed year of 2020 is finally behind us and the new year of 2021 has begun. So, for the season premiere of Season 6 of The Godly Dragon, I decided that I want to do something different, and that is sharing some of my old childhood memories with all of you. So when I was going through my box of treasures, I found something I haven't read in years. What I found were several crossover stories that I wrote when I was in 6th grade. The teachers and the students loved them. There were a bunch of crossover stories of Calvin and Hobbes meeting characters from my favorite books. The first one I'm going to talk about today, however, is a little story I wrote called Calvin and Hobbes and Narnia. I decided to go over this one first since Narnia is a Christian fantasy and keeps with the Christian theme of this channel. When I first wrote this story, I thought it was awesome, but looking back on it now, I think it's kinda cringe. So here's how we'll do this. First I'll show you the book itself, then I'll read the story to you like in an audiobook kind of format, and give commentary in between. Okay, so here's the book I wrote. I just typed it in a Word document, then printed out the pages and stapled them together. And here we have Calvin and Hobbes and Narnia. That's a copy and pasted image. That's a copy and pasted image. And then here we have, I just drew on it in pencil. The comic by Bill Watterson and the classic novel by C.S.Lewis comes to life. And then look, down here we have author of the Calvin Hobbes and Baudelaire's best-selling series. Boy, was I proud of myself, and those were stories I wrote previously. If you want to hear those stories as well, I might do another video on those. And look here, Comic Sans. Ooh, what a crime. And so if you take a look at this book, it's it's not formatted very well, and the entire story was written in Comic Sans, and this is basically just a book. It's like a bunch of short chapters and stuff. Goes by really fast. It's just paragraphs, which I guess count as chapters in my 6th grade mind. An English teacher would probably give me an F or something for this story. Oh, look at that! More pencil handwriting. Let's read it. When Hobbes enters a magic wardrobe, he finds himself in the land of Narnia. At first, Calvin didn't believe him, but then Susie and then Calvin discovered the land of Narnia. As they explore Narnia, they meet a faun named Tumnus, 2 talking beavers, a man named Father Christmas, and a great lion known as Aslan. In a flash, they have wonderful adventures in Narnia. That's just a synopsis, but it basically gives away the entire book. You'll see when I read it out loud to you. Oh, look at that! Fake reviews. An astonishing story kids will love. The Horn Family Times. Aww. And then this was a real comment from, I think was my speech teacher. I can't remember, it was so long ago. 2 thumbs way up. This story will keep you glued to the edge of your seat. Okay everyone, it's time. Let's read this masterpiece of 6th grade fiction together. Calvin and Hobbes and Narnia, based on the comic by Bill Watterson and the classic novel by C.S. Lewis. Chapter 1. Hobbes looks in a wardrobe. Calvin, Hobbes, and Susie all live in a big house in London. Okay, so apparently they live in London now instead of somewhere in the United States of America for whatever reason, who knows why. And for some reason they lived during World War II probably, even though clearly they lived during the 80s and 90s. I don't know what's going on there, because it's a new Calvin and Hobbes timeline that has no connection with the comic, obviously. Okay, their lives were filled with adventure when they entered the land of Narnia, but we'll get to that part later. Inside, Calvin sat on the couch chatting with his 2 friends, Hobbes and Susie. You know, I should bring up in the comics, Hobbes is only real to Calvin. Hobbes is a stuffed tiger to everyone else. So apparently, for some reason in this novel, Susie can see Hobbes, I guess, for whatever reason. "May I see the big room upstairs?" asked Hobbes. "Sure, knock yourself out," said Calvin. "Yippee!" Hobbes dashed upstairs to check out the room, but all he saw was nothing but a wardrobe inside. I just want to bring up that Hobbes saying yippee, imagining that, feels weird to me. Hobbes went inside the wardrobe and kept walking through the wardrobe. This must be a really big wardrobe, thought Hobbes. He kept on walking as he felt the shirts in the wardrobe. Then he felt something prickle against his skin. Branches! He walked through the branches and found himself in the land of Narnia. Chapter 2. Meet Tumnus. "Wow!" exclaimed Hobbes. He started looking around. He saw a fawn come up to him. "Goodness gracious me! What is a tiger doing in the land of Narnia?" "What is Narnia?" asked Hobbes. "You're in it." "I'm in Narnia?" "Yep," said the fawn. "Hey, I didn't catch your name," said Hobbes. "My name is Tumnus," said the fawn. "Pleased to meet you, Mr. Tumnus. My name is Hobbes." "Want to come over to my place for dinner?" asked Tumnus. "No thanks," said Hobbes. But just as he was about to enter the wardrobe, his stomach growled. "On the other hand, it would be wise to have dinner with you," said Hobbes. "Great," said Tumnus. And I think I want to bring up, I'm not sure why Tumnus is so shocked about a talking tiger when there might have been tigers in Narnia. There were a bunch of talking animals in Narnia, so that's weird to me. Chapter 3. Dinner with Tumnus. In Tumnus's home, Hobbes asked what food he had. "Well, you can either have tuna or steak. Choose which one." "Tuna. Steak gives me a rash," said Hobbes. Okay, that's random because in the comics, is there any food that Hobbes is allergic to? Because I don't think there's anything mentioned like that at all. Tumnus came back with a tuna sandwich. "I made you a tuna sandwich instead. I hope you don't mind," said Tumnus. "I don't mind," said Hobbes. After he had his fill, he started to leave. "Bye, Tumnus." "Bye, Hobbes." He went back into the wardrobe. "Just wait till I tell Calvin and Susie," said Hobbes. Chapter 4. Calvin doesn't believe him. Hobbes dashed downstairs to greet Calvin and Susie. "Where were you, Hobbes? We were worried sick," said Calvin. "Well, I went into this magic wardrobe and it led to Narnia." "Get real, Hobbes," said Calvin. "It's true," hollered Hobbes. "Nice try. You can't convince me," said Calvin. "I'm serious," shouted Hobbes. "Oh yeah, prove it," said Calvin. Then they went to the big room upstairs. Hobbes opened the wardrobe, but all there was a pile of clothes. "See, I told you," said Calvin. They all leave, all except for Susie. Wait, hold on a second. Susie went with them? I thought just Calvin went with Hobbes. Also, I think Calvin being skeptical about a magical wardrobe seems really out of character for Calvin. But whatever. Chapter 5. Susie and the wardrobe. She was still in the room looking at the big wardrobe. Could Hobbes be right? Maybe this is a magic wardrobe, thought Susie. She went into the wardrobe. She walked through the wardrobe until she reached the land of Narnia. "Wow, Hobbes was right! This is a magic wardrobe!" exclaimed Susie. Chapter 6. Tumnus meets Susie. A fawn came up to Susie. "Hello, Dr. Aviv. My name is Mr. Tumnus," said Tumnus. "Pleased to meet you, Mr. Tumnus. My name is Susie," said Susie. "Do you want to come over to my place for dinner?" asked Tumnus. "No thanks, I'm not hungry," said Susie. She went back into the wardrobe. "Just wait till I tell Calvin," said Susie. I think what would have made this more intriguing though is that if Susie had dinner with Mr. Tumnus and then Tumnus would try to kidnap her and take her to the White Witch, but then instead let her escape like in the novel. That probably would have been more intriguing. If I was serious back then about writing a good story, which I wasn't, obviously. Chapter 7. Fight Inside the Wardrobe. Hobbes, guess what? I went into the wardrobe and found myself in Narnia, exclaimed Susie. Well, I'm glad you believe me, said Hobbes. What's going on here? Shouted Calvin. They pushed and argued into the wardrobe. Then they fainted on the snow. They were in the land of Narnia. Chapter 8. Calvin apologizes. Wow, they all exclaimed. Lots of snow covered the entire ground. Trees swayed in the winter breeze. I'm sorry for not believing you two, said Calvin. Yeah, you'd better be sorry. It's okay, said Hobbes. Chapter 9. Calvin meets Tumnus. Tumnus was carrying an umbrella over his head. Goodness gracious me! It's a tiger and the daughter of Eve with the son of Adam, exclaimed Tumnus. My name is Calvin, said Calvin. My name is Tumnus, said Tumnus. Well, we have to go now. Bye, Mr. Tumnus, said Calvin. They explored around some more and saw a man on a sled carrying a bag. Okay, well, that escalated quickly. Plot could have been more intriguing if Tumnus was captured by the secret police like in the novel. But now, no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to... Tumnus is alright. We're going to skip to Santa Claus. Alright then. Chapter 10. Father Christmas and His Presents. Hi there, young ones. I have brought you tools to help you on your journey in Narnia, said the man. My name is Father Christmas, said Father Christmas. He gave Calvin a sword and shield. He gave Susie a bow and a pack of arrows. He gave Hobbes a potion. What does this potion do? Asked Hobbes. If you or your friends are mortally wounded, one drop of that potion will cure your dead, said Father Christmas. Good luck. Chapter 11. A Day with the Beavers. As they walked through the forest, they saw two beavers. Come here, little fellow. We mean you no harm. But what Calvin didn't expect was that the beavers could talk. Hello, the beaver said. Yipe, yelled Calvin. What's the matter? You never seen a beaver talk before? Said Mr. Beaver. Well, actually no, said Calvin. Oh, so wait a minute. A talking beaver is strange to you, but not a talking tiger, Calvin? Well, now you have, dear, said Mrs. Beaver. Want to come to our home for lunch? Asked Mr. Beaver. We'd love to, he said. Watch your step. Clang! Ow! Or in this case, watch your head, said Mr. Beaver. You know, I didn't specify who exactly hit their head on the way in. Like, maybe it was Hobbes because he's the tallest, or it could have been Calvin or Susie. I don't know. Inside, they had a big lunch that they just couldn't resist. Do you know about Aslan? Asked Mr. Beaver. Who is Aslan? Asked Hobbes. He is the king of Narnia, said Mrs. Beaver. Let's go meet him, exclaimed Hobbes. Them and the beavers went into the forest and started looking for Aslan. Chapter 12. Crossing the river. They started walking across the ice. Just then the ice began to crack. Hurry, shouted Calvin. They ran across the cracking ice. Then Hobbes accidentally fell through a crack in the ice. Hobbes, cried Calvin. He dived underwater and rescued Hobbes. Poor Hobbes, frozen stiff. Okay, so wait a minute. How is Hobbes all cold and frozen when he fell into the water, but when Calvin goes in, he doesn't get all frozen? That's not how it works. Calvin took Hobbes' potion and opened his mouth wide open. He dropped a bit into his mouth. Thank you, Calvin. You saved my life, said Hobbes. Don't mention it, said Calvin. Then they got ready and continued their journey to find Aslan. Chapter 13. Meeting Aslan. As they were walking, they found the stone table where Aslan is. What does Aslan look like? Is he a man? Asked Hobbes. Aslan, a man? Don't be silly. He is a lion, said Mr. Beaver. They all came towards Aslan and greeted him. Excuse me, but are you the great lion of Narnia known as Aslan? Asked Calvin. Yes, of course I am, said Aslan. Do you by any chance know why it's always snowing in Narnia? Asked Hobbes. Because an evil queen known as the White Witch is making it winter all the time, and it is never Christmas, explained Aslan. "How terrible," said Hobbes. "But don't worry, with my mighty roar, I shall make it spring again," said Aslan. He let out a mighty roar, and all the snow melted. Well, that was anticlimactic. There was a lot more into defeating the White Witch in the original novel. And yeah, I don't think Aslan could just melt the snow just like that. Well, I mean, I guess he could, but that's not what he did. He would sacrifice himself to save Edmund, then be resurrected, and then he would help the Pevensey children win the war. So that was anticlimactic, and the characters in my story, they never even met the White Witch. Would have been an even better story if they had met the White Witch. Chapter 14, Spring Again. "Hooray for Aslan!" exclaimed all the beasts. "3 cheers for Aslan, the King of Narnia," they exclaimed. "Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray!" Sniff. "I love happy endings," said Hobbes. "But what about the White Witch?" asked Calvin. "She's gone for now, but she'll be back," said Aslan. "Let's go home," said Calvin. "But the problem is, where is the way back to the wardrobe?" asked Hobbes. Chapter 15, The Way Back. They started traveling through Narnia looking for the wardrobe. "Hey look, a lamppost. Do you suppose this is the way back?" "Yes, it is," said Mr. Beaver. Calvin, Hobbes, and Susie ran back to the wardrobe and entered it. Then they found themselves back at home in London. Chapter 16, Back Home. At home, Calvin's mom came by and asked, "Calvin, there you are. Where have you been?" Calvin told his mom the entire story. He told her about going into the wardrobe and entering Narnia. He told her about meeting a fawn named Tumnus, 2 talking beavers, and a great lion named Aslan. He told her about crossing the cracking ice. "What an interesting story," said Mom in astonishment. "We should visit Narnia again sometime," said Calvin. And yet, Calvin and Hobbes were right. It was only the beginning of their adventures in Narnia. The end. And there are no more adventures of Calvin and Hobbes in Narnia because I didn't write a sequel. So yeah, that was Calvin and Hobbes in Narnia. There was a ton of plot holes, and Calvin and Hobbes and Susie were out of character, and there was no intriguing plot to be had. It was just a bunch of random adventures, although charming, just like random. Didn't really follow the original novel too much at all. For the most part, this was a word-for-word read, except for a few major spelling mistakes I made. I decided not to read those spelling mistakes. I decided to just read them the way it was intended to be read, you could say. Well guys, that was Calvin and Hobbes and Narnia. I hope you enjoyed this masterpiece of cringe, and if this video gets well received, I may read the other stories as I wrote as well. For now, God bless, and have a happy new year.